Okay, today we're going to do an import of student data into AccuTrack. For that to work, you need to open your AccuTrack and log in. Of course, log in as administrator and go to the main system administration menu. When you get there, you want to go to the bottom of the screen and click on expanded view so we can find what we're looking for. And then click on database, expand that one out, and click on import. Once you get to import, go ahead and click on the little drop down over here next to target table and select student information, the very top one. If you're on an older version of AccuTrack, it might say something similar, but it'll still, be pretty obvious. Okay, once you do that, you'll see underneath I get two options that pop up. One is update student data from import file if student already exists. In other words, if they're already in the AccuTrack database and they're in the import file, do I want to replace what's in AccuTrack with what's in the import file? If I do, I'm going to click that on. If I want it to ignore what's in the import file and just go to the next record and only add the new ones, then I'm going to click that off. Okay. The second option is inactivate students that are not in the import file. So if they're not in the import file, but they are in the AccuTrack database, and I click this on, then the students that are not in the import file will not be able to sign into AccuTrack anymore. Now, it won't delete their records, but it will just keep them from being able to sign in. If you're not sure about this, do not click it on, because once you inactivate those, the only way to reactivate all of them is to do each of them individually. Alright, once you have decided what your options are here, go ahead and browse to find your file. Go up here to the little browse button, click on it, and go out to your hard drive or wherever you've stored your file there and get it. Now, I'm using comma delimited files, and notice they're not showing up. When that happens, just go where it says files to type and change it to all files, and that should fix that. So here's my file. I'm going to go ahead and select it and say OK. And now I'm going to click on Next at the bottom of the screen. And this is going to take me to a screen that shows me what my file looks like. So down here on the bottom, I'm seeing a line between each piece of data. That's good. That's what you want. Notice that my IDs and my telephone numbers don't have any brackets or dashes. That's also good. If you have something that looks like this with no lines between it, that's not good. You need to try to click around until you get a line between each piece of data. If you end up with something like first name and last name in the same column, you may need to fix that before you go forward with the import. The import file needs to have each one in its own field. Okay, so once you get to where you have a line between each piece of data, say Next. This is our field mapping screen. I'm going to clear the old mappings since I'm not sure if they're right, so I'm just going to click on this Clear Mapping button. And this is where I tell AccuTrack what data or what column I want to put into what field in AccuTrack. See, up here at the top, these are my AccuTrack fields. Down at the bottom, this is my data file. So I know I want column 1 to go into user ID because this is my student ID. So I'm going to put my cursor over the word column 1, hold down the mouse button and drag it up there and set it next to the word user ID. And that should fill it in for me automatically. Now, if you accidentally put it in the wrong place like this, all you have to do is highlight it and either hit backspace or delete on your keyboard, and that should fix that. Alright, so column 2 is my first name, column 3 is middle. I'm just going to map things accordingly. Now, your sheet might be in a different order. It doesn't have to be in the same order as mine. Okay, phone number. Go down here a little bit more and go over. Address, city, state, zip. Let me go over to the right on this bottom file, and look, I do have one more column. I want to put that in my gender field. Here we go. Now, everything up here at the top that's below optional date, all those fields below optional date are programmable fields, so you can change the names of those fields. So if I want it to say something other than gender, I can do that. Also, they're not really integer fields. You can ignore that. Any kind of text or integer can go in there. But go ahead and map any of them that you have so that they can be imported. Now, once you're done, anything you don't map will get ignored. If you have a blank column in here, it'll just ignore it if it's not mapped. Also, you cannot map one column twice. So if it's in there and you need it twice, you need to put it in the import sheet twice. Okay, so once I have mapped all my columns. I'm going to say next. And it's going to pop up. Now, this will not happen if you're not mapping your profile questions. It won't happen on your machine. What it's asking me, I just mapped my profile question number 1, which was gender, and it's wanting to know, do you want me to add this value male and female? So you can just click them on. Now, if you have a whole bunch, you can just click the first one on and hit the plus key on your numeric keypad, and that will highlight all of them. But I think you actually don't just click the little check mark box. Click over to the right in the field on the right and then hit the plus key, and that will highlight all of them. And then you just say add selected and return at the bottom. That will add male and female as an optional answer to those questions. Okay, so then it's going to tell me if my data is good or bad, and if you didn't have profile questions, it would have went straight to this screen. At the top, I can see I have a yellow field. Yellow's not good. That means required fields are missing. Well, when I look at that, I can see that's my header row, so I don't really care. I don't want it to go in there. If I did, I would need to fix it in order for it to import, because it does require a user ID. Green is good to go. Any other color is a duplicate or an alert. Pink is usually an alert. Maybe you have people to D.D. Smith with different IDs. So it'll assume there's 2 D.D. Smiths. It will import them because their IDs are different, but it will alert you. Red will mean it's a duplicate, so it will only import once. And normally that means, you know, whatever the ID is, that's what it's going to use for determining if it's a duplicate or not. It will not import more than one of those IDs. So just kind of get a view of what your data looks like and run through it. I have about 4,500 students in my import file here. You may have a lot more, you may have a lot less. And by the way, if you're doing this import on the server, it's going to be a lot faster than if you try to do it across the network. On 4,500 students, it's not too bad, but when you get, you know, 50,000, you might want to go on the server and import it. Okay, so once I've checked this and it looks good, I'm going to say finish. And it's going to warn me that it might take several minutes. Now, it might, if I was importing across the network, it would probably take a lot longer. Because I'm on the machine that has the database, it's going to go a lot quicker. So here we go. And it has imported now all 4,504 students. Up here at the top, it says imported successfully. One of them did not import, and that was the header row. The required field was missing. So anything that's in gray when you first get through the import did not import. Anything that's in white did import successfully. Now, if you look at the bottom left of the screen, you'll see there's a little button, Schedules Automated Import. If you click on that, you can actually tell AccuTrack to go grab this file and import it every day or every month or whatever you want. I'm going to say every day of the month and every month of the year between 3 and 4 a.m. and maybe between 10 and 11 p.m. I want AccuTrack to go grab that file and import it. Now, of course, if I do this, I need to have my student information system put the file out there twice a day so AccuTrack can find it and grab it. AccuTrack will expect it to be laid out the same way, named the same thing, and everything be identical. Same path, same name, same layout. And then it will just grab it and it will import it while you're sleeping. So I'm going to say OK, and that will automate that import, so it will look tonight at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever time I told it, it will look for that file. So I'm going to say OK. So that's all there is. It's now in there, and if I go up to the top under Setup, Student Setup, you will see that all of my students, if I go to Students here, all of them have been imported into the database, and there they are. And basically that's it. Thank you very much for your time, and do look for other videos. There will be a registration video and a activity video up very soon. Thank you.